That will be the main file, the statement to file, we file 1, and then open on page 1 of that, and you see it makes reference to your statement, and then if you page over, you will see that there's your statement there, and I want you to go to page 29 of that document, which should contain your signature. In fact, your signature will be at the bottom of 28. Can you confirm that to be your signature?
I can confirm.
And then can you also stand by the contents of your statement? Warrant Officer, I want you to read contents of your statement, the record. Before we do that, Chair, flowing from yesterday, may allow me, flowing from yesterday of to and froing between Officer Magane, the evidence, as what agreement reached, where to, and what was expected to be fair to the witness. Say, let's deal with that right now. As to his version, he was correct. He's lying.
Who was lying?
Warrant Magane accused this particular witness fair. Clear that.
Whether expressly or impliedly, I think Warrant Officer Phakula's statement does, because he says he waited, Albert. It was only after, I think, making a call with Aeroton. Yes. So I think it does touch.
Yes.
Why don't you just take him through his statement?
He just wanted to clear that so that at least because it left him anxious.
I think, I think you can deal with it perhaps more in detail when you get to that. Is when is it?
Yes.
Okay. Would that work for you?
It works for me. Just that he asked to clear it outright. He wasn't anxious about it. But if the chair says, let's wait for.
Yeah, let's just wait.
Then he'll get a chance to clear his name. Thank you, Chair. And then, Warrant Officer, can we then go to? You will see that on the numbering we're going to use, it's on the top right. It's in red. So you then start with page 2 because page 1 is a table of content. Can you then start reading that into?
Okay. I'm an adult male warrant officer in the South African Police attached to National Investigation Unit 231 Francis Bar, Pretoria. My background and service history. My history in the SAPS began in 2002. Below is a summary of my progress within the ranks of police and includes various appointments and posts served in over the years. I joined the South African Police Service as a student constable working in the Client Service Center at Alberton SAPS. In 2006, I was transferred to the Alberton Detectives Branch, where I performed my duties as investigating serious violent crimes. In 2008, I joined Jamestown Trio Task Team, responsible for all the investigations relating to house robberies, business robbery, and hijacking cases within the Jamestown cluster. I was transferred to the Gauteng Provincial Investigation Unit in 2011. This is the very same year I was promoted to the rank of a sergeant. My duties were to investigate crimes such as truck hijacking, house robberies, business robberies, car hijackings, and other serious and violent crimes within the Gauteng province. In 2013, I was transferred to the National Investigation Unit at head office in Pretoria. My duties included investigation at national level, blue light robberies, airport following robberies, head office inquiry files, and high-profile cases as determined by the Minister of Police, the Deputy Minister of Police, the National Commissioner, Deputy National Commissioner, and the Divisional Commissioner, and the political leaders. In 2015, I was promoted to a rank of a warrant officer at cross-border operations. My duties included the fusion of joint cross-border operations, bilateral and internal disruptive operations within the Southern African Regional Police Chiefs Cooperation Organization, investigate inquiries or dockets regarding stolen and or illegal firearms, theft of motor vehicles, drugs, cyber crimes, and other cross-border related. In 2019, I was transferred back to the National Investigation Unit Detective Service, head office in Pretoria, where I'm still stationed till today. Tertiary studies, I obtained the higher certificate in forensic investigation from the University of Western Cape in 2014. I completed a national diploma in law from the University of South Africa in 2020.
Warrant, before you move on to the events of Aeroton of July, can you maybe share your particular experience in dealing with drug?
If I may ask, what experience in
it will be in twofold experience. Also, have you crime scene in those specific?
Yes, I can say I investigated drugs. However, I was not involved in the drug bust because the one that.
So are you saying they were drug bust, but not of this magnitude? And you were also involved in crimes?
No, I obviously was involved in getting officer at a later stage. And like I said, some of the drug bust was not as big as that. So having information about drugs in a certain, maybe 5 packets or so, 5 kilograms or so, that was the investigation.
Okay, we then move to 4.
On Friday, 9 July 2021, around 7:37 in the morning, I was at home working remotely when I received a call on my state cell phone from Warrant Officer Magane. I know Warrant Officer Magane since 2002. We both worked at Alberton SAPS, but at different units. We eventually started interacting more often when Warrant Officer Magane left and joined Crime Intelligence at Zonkizizwe SAPS. At that time, I was working at Serious and Violent Crimes Unit still in Alberton, tracing suspects, and Warrant Officer Magane would task his informers in Gauteng, Pokoza, and Feroz to assist in identifying and arresting perpetrators. When I left Alberton SAPS for different units such as Jamestown Trio Task Team, Gauteng Provincial Unit, cross-border operations, I continued working with him and tasking Warrant Officer Magane for information that could lead to. On that day, on that particular particular day, the 9th July 2021, Warrant Officer Magane informed me that he was following up on information about the drugs and that he needed backup. Warrant Officer Magane further informed me he tried to contact other police officers who were either not in Gauteng or their cell phones were off. He asked whether I'm home or at work already, and I said I'm still at home. I then informed Warrant Officer Magane that I will come assist once I'm done preparing myself. He informed me that they were in Alberton area and there's a possibility they will be going to the receiver of the cargo in Alberton. I asked Warrant Officer Magane to keep me up. While still at home, I received a call again from Warrant Officer Magane informing me that he suspects the information might be because they were now in Aeroton and had opened the container. He said there were black bags falling out of the container. I immediately contacted Colonel Sipungu and informed him that there is a member from Crime Intelligence who needs assistance on information about drugs which were found in a container. And I asked for permission to go assist, and it was granted. Commissioners, if I may, I don't know if it's the opportune time to address the issue, because I heard it was related that Colonel Sipungu was on leave, and I phoned him while he was on leave. So the Monday, I was also on leave, and I only reported at work on the Monday before the arrest on Friday. So I didn't know who was working at that time and everything. And because I was working remotely at home, I didn't know whether Colonel Sipungu was on leave or not. So my call to him, it was just spontaneous as my call. So I just wanted. So Colonel Sipungu informed me that I should get another member to assist me. I contacted Captain Midupi, who was on the same rotation group as mine. I then briefed him and asked if he's available to come and assist. Captain Midupi agreed to come and assist. I told him to meet in Alberton, as initially agreed with Warrant Officer Magane that they will be bringing the truck and driver to Alberton for detention as a place where the crime scene started. At about 20:08, I left my house to go assist Warrant Officer Magane. I was driving a state motor vehicle with registration number CJ01SPGP, the Kia Cerato.
Before you move on, Warrant Officer, maybe to emphasize a previous paragraph on what you said on the last sentence raised regard to your agreement, Warrant Officer Magane. So to state the record clear, agreement, you will meet him.
That's correct.
And further understanding whether bring the consignment, the driver, to.
That's correct.
Let's proceed there.
Paragraph.
Yes, jump.
Yes. While on my way to Alberton SAPS, I phoned Lieutenant Colonel Magane, who works at Silverton Ballistics Section, and requested standby cell phone number of forensic members for that section. Lieutenant Colonel Magane told me he does not have the number, however, he will get back to me. Within 3 minutes, Lieutenant Colonel Magane phoned me and told me that he spoke to Colonel Moripe, the drug section, and Colonel Moripe, said they are no longer sending members to the crime scenes. Members must package and send them to the laboratory for.
Warrant, is that correct to understand? That is the when you called. Is it what unit is that? Is that FSL or the unit will fall under FSL?
Yes, it's under forensic. After spending about 15 minutes at Alberton SAPS waiting, I phoned Warrant Officer Magane to inquire how far are they, and he said I should rather drive through to assist in Aeroton. I requested him to say his location, and he sent a WhatsApp message with the name of the premises they were at, Omni Park Business Park. I called Captain Midupi to inform him I was leaving Alberton and he should drive to, as Warrant Officer Magane was no longer coming to Alberton SAPS. I also contacted Sergeant Phakula and Sergeant Sape, who were on duty at the dock unit posted provincially. Another address I'd like to make to the commission is, indeed, Sergeant Phakula is my brother, and he works at K9 in Silverton. So I informed them about the scene and that I was still on my way, and that I will send them the location once I'm at the scene. All these phone calls were made before I even got to the crime scene in Aeroton. Sergeant Phakula informed me that this information is similar to that of Lieutenant Colonel Maluleke of National Head Office, South African Narcotics Enforcement Bureau, SANEP, who informed them that they should be on standby as he, Lieutenant Colonel Maluleke, was expecting a truck from Durban with drugs in a container. With that new information, I informed Sergeant Phakula to call Lieutenant Colonel Maluleke to the scene as well. I did not know Lieutenant Colonel Maluleke prior to the incident of the 9th of 2021. Upon my arrival at the scene, I found a marked Poison's SAPS patrol van parked in front of Warrant Officer Magane's state black Nissan NP300, facing each other. I then parked on the left side of the Poison's van. As I approached...
Warrant Officer, can we slide the exhibit file, the bigger file, page 19?
I'm there.
Confirm that what is the bottom photo number. As I read, can you confirm that is yours where you explain it?
That's correct. As I approached Warrant Officer Magane, I saw him standing with Chief Mashaba of Gauteng Provincial Traffic. When I first met Chief Mashaba,
I think you should read first met.
Yeah, thanks. I first met Chief Mashaba at the funeral of Mama Winnie Mandela in Orlando West in 2018. I was introduced to him by a former colleague, Warrant Officer Setona. Since Chief Mashaba was on duty at that time, we only exchanged greetings, and me and former Warrant Officer Setona proceeded with our business. That was only the first and last time I met Chief Mashaba prior to the events of the 9th of July 2021. When I saw Chief Mashaba at the scene, I then concluded he was together with Warrant Officer Magane. I immediately saw the state black Nissan NP 300 loaded with black bags wrapped with plastic. Both Warrant Officer Magane and Chief Mashaba briefed me of the scene. I was
Warrant, can you then maybe give us on what exactly information they shared with you when they briefed you, described that?
I think I stated it in paragraph 17. What they said, what Warrant Officer Magane was saying is that he received a call from Mashaba about the container with drugs. Chief Mashaba received the information from Chief Mashaba's informer. They first went to Rodocop and at Yellow Jersey Logistics and found the container there, and then they escorted it to Aeroton. So basically that's what they told me, and then that when they got to Aeroton, when they opened the bag of the container, the bag of the trailer, the bags fell on the ground.
All right, continue.
I was informed by Warrant Officer Magane that the informer followed the truck from Devon the previous night where it was parked at Yellow Jersey Logistics overnight. Warrant Officer Magane confirmed that he was phoned by Chief Mashaba and that they first met at Rodocop, and then it was agreed that the container be escorted to Aeroton where the client was accepting the order. Warrant Officer Magane pointed a yellow Jersey truck, yellow in color, hooked to a 12-meter container trailer, and told me that the drugs on the back of the buggy fell from the container and they were assisted by Scania who loaded those bags onto the back of the buggy to preserve them, also allowing space for the truck to further reverse to the loading bay in order to allow a forklift to easily remove the caps inside the container. Warrant Officer Magane also told me that the 4 Scania truck caps that were inside the container were subsequently removed by use of a forklift. I then went to identify myself to the Boyson's SAPS members and informed them that I'm from National Investigation Unit in Pretoria. The 2 members also introduced themselves as Sergeant Ndo and Constable Makumbila from Boyson's SAPS. I was then pointed the driver of the truck by Chief Mashaba, who told me the driver is already under arrest and he was told to stand next to the truck. Chief Mashaba also told me he placed 2 other people who were receivers of the cargo under arrest. I then requested to see the responsible persons who were receiving the cargo. I interviewed a lady by the name Jolene Kukemur Wenzel by first introducing myself to her. Jolene also introduced herself and her position as a team leader at Frighten. She was shaken and also confirmed to me that she was placed under arrest. I asked Jolene to explain her role in placing orders in Brazil and the arrangements of transport logistics, including how the container serial numbers are allocated. I then started obtaining Jolene's statement. In the meantime, I requested Warrant Officer Magane to summon photographers if he has not done that already. At this stage, the scene was under control. The exhibits were still secured in bags in their original forms, not tampered with. The crime scene was still under investigation as witnesses were interviewed and suspects under arrest. The dog unit was summoned as well as the photograph. It is also worth noting that the primary responsibility of the first responding police member is to safeguard the crime scene until the arrival of crime scene examiners from local criminal record center and the investigating office. I can also confirm that the scene was handled in line with the SAPS National Instruction 1 of 25 states that crime scene management involves the process of planning and implementation of measures to take control and secure the crime scene, ensure the integrity and the originality of evidence and exhibits, investigate and process the crime scene thoroughly and undisturbed, coordinate and maximize the collection of exhibits, utilize the investigation support resources optimally, record facts and events properly, and ensure that the crime scene remains under police protection for the period determined by the crime scene manager. It was at this stage, while busy obtaining Jolene's statement, that a lot of police vehicles started driving in. There were also security personnel from Business Park and Scania who came, and they were walking in and asking questions where we came from. Due to the number of police vehicles that were coming in, I kept on being distracted by people passing by towards the police van. At this stage, I was busy writing down the statement on the bonnet of the red Kia. I further phoned Doc Unit and Captain Midupi to hear how far they were, and they said they were getting nearer to the scene. I also requested Warrant Officer Magane and members of Poison's SAPS to cordon off the scene, as there were lots of members working through. Members from Poison's brought the scene tape from their patrol van, and I saw them together with Warrant Officer Magane pulling the tape behind the Poison's police van.
Warrant, I want you to go to the Exhibit 5, the bigger one, page 37.
And there?
You are there. I want you to focus. There's 3.3. You will see there's a cordon off. Is that what you're at paragraph?
Yes, that's what I'm referring to. And further to the left of the police parking, there was a trailer that the tape went further to the trailer.
Maybe go to the next page and see if that's page 38 will be the stretch of.
It's not that
the cordon off that's of your.
Yes, that's correct.
Then let's proceed.
I do not recall whether I finished writing Jolene's statement, as there were a lot of police officers in uniform coming in. Instead of coming to us and inquire what was happening, those members went and stood with employees of Scania. I requested Jolene to make copies of the way bill. She went to the office to get those documents. At some stage, while still busy on the scene, Jolene returned and handed the documents I requested to me. At around 10:15, Captain Midupi arrived, closely followed by doc unit members, Sergeant Phakula and Sergeant Sapi. I went and briefed them about what was happening on the scene, and I also introduced them to Warrant Officer Magane and Chief Mashaba. While waiting for the photographers, certain gentlemen came and instructed the 2 Boyson's police members to write their statements, as he was now taking over the scene. I asked the gentleman who he was and that he should introduced him, is he should introduce himself, as he already knew who I was. That member did not want to give his name, and I told him that is not procedural to walk in a crime scene and give instructions. He said he is not going to listen to me, and that General Khan was on his way. I said to that gentleman, that is fine, he, General Khan, may come. I was later informed that the name of the gentleman was Warrant Officer Rikoto from DPCI. Warrant Officer Rikoto further asked if I had an inquiry registered for that operation, and I told him there was no time to first drive to Pretoria to register an inquiry and then drive back to the scene, as the delay would have defeated the purpose. The information was received that same morning, and I had to act on information first. At that stage, I was approached by Sergeant Phakula, who introduced me to Lieutenant Colonel Maluleke of SAPS National Head Office. They had just arrived together with Sergeant Masuma. I went and introduced Lieutenant Colonel Maluleke and Sergeant Masuma to Warrant Officer Magane and Chief Mashaba. Sergeant Masuma was in possession of an inquiry file, and he also showed me a message on his phone between him and his informant talking about the container from Durban. I remember the message on Sergeant Masuma's cell phone was received on a Thursday, the 8th of July, 2021, and it read that the container with the consignment of drugs will be leaving the Durban harbour to Gauteng, and that Sergeant Masuma must be on standby. After seeing the message, I was convinced this could be the same information and continued briefing them with the intention of handing the scene over to them. I also pointed to them a suspect who was already placed under arrest. Major General Khan's arrival on the scene. Within minutes, Major General Khan indeed arrived. I approached him and introduced myself to him. He asked me if my commander was aware of my whereabouts, and I said yes. He requested my commander's number, and I gave him contact numbers of Colonel Sipungo. After a few minutes, he came back and said he got hold of my commander and he confirmed my version, but something does not add up. I then went and stood with Lieutenant Colonel Maluleke while still waiting for the photographer. Major General Khan wanted to know who the driver of the black Nissan NP300 was, and he instructed Warrant Officer Magane to go and sit in this. I was waiting for the photographer to arrive. I faced the driver of the truck, who was already standing on the side of the truck. I then brought him back and handed him to Captain Midupi to place him under arrest, as I was busy trying to manage the scene. Captain Midupi cuffed him with cable ties. The reason the truck driver was not cuffed earlier was that he was going to drive the truck to the escalating pound. After the arrival of Captain Midupi, told us that there is no need for the truck driver to drive the truck to the pound, as Captain Midupi will drive the truck. He has a code 14 driver's license. Once the photographer arrived, I introduced myself to her, and she also gave her name, which I forgot. I went to Major General Khan together with the lady photographer and found him standing with other two gentlemen whom I did not know, standing on the loading bay at the back of the trailer. I introduced the photographer to Major General Khan and told him that the photographer has arrived and she wants to start with her duties. Major General Khan told me to stand back, and I did. I left the photographer with Major General Khan and went back to where the buggy was. I then removed the two seals that were placed on the passenger side of the black buggy with the intention to get the photographer to take pictures of, but I was stopped by Lieutenant Colonel Ludik and Captain Phakula, and I was told that they were now taking over the scene. Colonel Maluleke of Johannesburg DPCI approached me, Warrant Officer Magane and Chief Mashaba, and asked that we explain to him what happened and how did we get to the scene. We explained to him what transpired, and he understood our version. Colonel Maluleke then left us, and after a while he returned to where I was standing and told me to prepare my statement, otherwise I will be placed under arrest. Other members were also ordered to submit their statements, include Lieutenant Colonel Maluleke, Captain Midupi, Sergeant Phakula, Sergeant Sape, and Sergeant Masuma. I obliged and started writing my statement. I handed over my statement together with the statement of Jolene I took earlier, as well as the waybill copies, to Captain Phakula. Colonel Mabasa also approached me and requested my cell phones. I asked why. He told me I'm being arrested. I told Colonel Mabasa I want to make a phone call to my commander, and he granted me permission to do so. Captain Midupi and I made a call to Brigadier Mbele, the section commander at National Investigation Unit, and informed her what was happening. She further said she will not be able to come and that she will phone Colonel Sipungo to come to the scene. While waiting, I was approached by Captain Phakula and another gentleman who demanded my phones, and this time I handed them over to Captain Phakula. I was still standing and confused when Colonel Stein came and aggressively told me he wanted my car keys, my appointment certificate, and firearm. I handed him the car keys and the SAPS appointment card, and however the firearm was at home, locked in a safe. Captain Delinoke came and searched the car, accompanied by a photographer who was taking pictures of the car I was driving. I was then placed under arrest by Captain Phakula at about 13:45. Captain Phakula was one of the last officers to arrive at the scene. However, he arrested us without a proper explanation of what we were arrested for. After a few minutes, we were instructed to get out of the Boysen's Parky. At that stage, there were several members of the media with cameras. I then saw Colonel Sipungo, and he came and asked what was happening, and I explained to him that I was under arrest. Colonel Sipungo went, and I saw him talking to Colonel Stein and General Kadwa. We were then ordered to stand next to a black Nissan buggy where Brigadier Sokovela and her DPCI members were busy offloading black bags from the back. At no stage were we handcuffed. I counted 35 bricks in each of the first 10 black bags that were opened in front of us. We were told to get in the back of the boys' SAPS police bag while they were still busy unpacking the exhibits from the black bags to the forensic exhibit bags. It was at around 19:30 when I was taken to Boysen's SAPS, where I was detained together with Warrant Officer Magane, Chief Mashaba, and a gentleman I only knew when I was in the back of the police package to Melongo. The suspects whom we placed under arrest, including the truck driver, were released. The truck and trailer with registration number HP01HG GP that we were going to book in at SAP 13 was sent back without being booked in. There was interference from members of the public as well as SAPS members. This amount to defeating the ends of justice as well as obstructing a police officer from performing his lawful duty. The dog unit was stopped from performing their duty. Lieutenant Colonel Maluleke, who had an inquiry file, was made to leave the scene. On the 11th...
perhaps to follow through with your evidence properly, Warrant Officer, maybe let's clarify your specific role. When you arrived, I think you have explained in your paragraphs what transpired. But what we need to stem is that from the briefing, Mashaba, whom at least we accept that when he testified yesterday, he accepted the first responder. Then what happened? He had over the scene. Who was in? Explain the process. We found this after the briefing. Who was in? And what was the plan? Being seen, and we found the scene. It was set up.
So, Warrant Officer Magane was the scene manager before. I think he was the scene manager before my arrival, and he handed over the scene to me. So I was in charge of the scene, and hence I started giving instructions for the cordon of photographers to call, and up until when I was about to give it to Lieutenant Colonel Maluleke, where I was arrested. So I couldn't even hand it over to Lieutenant Colonel Maluleke.
Can you explain why was the scene handed over to you, and why did you also intend on handing it over?
It was handed over to me as a better person equipped to investigate, perhaps, at that stage, because I was the first person to arrive in investigator, and I was the one who was called to them. So when I handed over to Lieutenant Colonel Maluleke, he's working at SANEP, so it's his mandate. So I was handing it over to a relevant person.
And then what did you make of the fact that the drugs were removed, as you were informed, placed in a black bag? In terms of scene management, you do explain that you are managing that. You make of.
Yes. Unfortunately, the drugs were already removed and in the back of the bag. I was not going to instruct them to place it back as well, otherwise we were going to further contaminate the scene. But as Magane considered, the scene was already contaminated. But upon my arrival, I had to now make use of what is there, continue with the investigation of the scene from where I found it.
They basically manage the scene as it were.
As it were, yes.
My concern is when you then attempted to remove what they duplicate seal, then that's when you're stopped by looting. Can you explain that? What has happened?
No, I was innocently taking those seals to... Remember, I left the photographer with Major General Khan. So I was taking those seals to her to take photos of those, and obviously she was supposed to take them further to forensic.
I think the obvious concern, as you will appreciate, you handling the exhibit as it were and moving.
No, it was already moved. From the explanation I got, it was removed it was found in the back of the trailer, so it was removed and placed there. So mine was to take it and hand it over to the...
Yes, what I'm saying is that you're moving it further because you stopped calling the photographer without you again.
It could have been a possibility, bearing in mind that it has been touched already previously. I might have decided to take it to where the photographer was.
At that time, were you weren't?
No.
And you see, that's my concern. Should you accept it's not a license for anyone to compromise the scene further? You accept?
May you please come again?
I'm saying you accept that the fact that the scene is already contaminated is no means a license for anyone.
Yes, you're correct.
And then when you say that when Khan arrived, the scene under control.
The exhibits were in the back of the package. They were safe where I could see them and still continue with the statement with my duties. And there was no move. But what we are saying is that when did I say that? Because what happened was in my statement. In my statement, I mentioned that while I was busy writing the statement, a lot of people started coming in. Yes.
I think it's Captain Rehozo,
Warrant Officer,
who approached you.
Yes.
What has happened there? Because he was trying to take the scene. Can you just explain that?
Yeah. Usually, if you go to a scene, you don't just start giving instructions without talking to the crime scene manager. And at that time, I was still the crime scene manager before Lieutenant Colonel. So what he did was come in and start giving instructions to two Boysen's police officers to give him statements. And he was wearing civilian clothes. I didn't know who he was, and it was an awkward moment where somebody just come and start giving instructions, and you've never seen him before, you don't know him.
And then when later on General Khan arrived, you say that he said to you, when you went to introduce, what did you say?
I must stand back.
What did you understand that instruction mean? Mean that you were being close?
Yes, I understood it as I must stop now being on the scene, and hence now, because I was now standing back, maybe that's when I realized I need to hand over whatever it is the exhibit I have to the photographer. The reason why I went to fetch the seal with the intention to give it to the photographer, because now I was no more participating
And also there was reports as well there.
Yes, but I was also there.
You said you were in fact planning to hand over the scene to
Lieutenant Colonel Madlanga.
Lieutenant.
Yes.
And all of this, it's fair to say the word being used was chaotic or chaos.
Of course. I would have appreciated if whoever wanted to take the scene came to us and told us, listen, we want to take a scene. How do we, not to start now giving instructions without knowing who he was. I asked him to at least introduce himself. Let us work together. I think that although I didn't mention it here, there was a time when I told him, we can still work together, but now you cannot just come and start giving instructions.
I mean, in your understanding, what has really happened? We're trying to get...
To be honest, commissioners, I think we were being managed. We were being people wanted to take over the crime scene, and the only way for them to take control of that crime scene was to get us arrested immediately. There are a lot of things that I can point out that are questionable. If they wanted to, honestly, if they were intending on investigating this case, I believe they could have done it better with the experience and resources that they have. I refer to DPCI.
Maybe just so that we don't forget, you say there are a lot of things. Maybe.
Okay. One, commissioners, it was easier for them to go fetch CCTV footage in order to assist them with the investigation. The dog unit that was supposed to be used, they could have used it to assist them with the investigation if they were intending on searching, and also the release of the driver. Most importantly, the driver. Those are the three that I can at the moment point at.
Warrant Officer, I think what we're trying to establish, remember initial call was made at one. They are bogus hijacked. Later on drugs, you did particularly experience huge.
Correct.
And then the real police, on a serial police, SAPS arrived. And we now know that at least it seems if they arrive at the original intention or at least consignment to Albert's office, then ultimately, and obviously clear is confusion is there. And to some extent, Warrant Magane, you guys are labeled. So you have to appreciate, to try to, and also we have to quite up the scene, poorly managed. And there's evidence you consider that they have on various levels contaminated the scene of the evidence. And you are called in to assist in that situation. You're trying to understand to what extent to be the guy who can at least to be associated with chaos that was already happening to arrive. The bike was reloaded.
Yeah, I cannot say, commissioners, that I knew the situation would turn out the way it did at the end of the day. But I was called in to come and assist in managing the crime scene. And unfortunately, upon my arrival at the crime scene, I found it the way it was, already bits loaded onto the buggy, and I had to continue managing from where the exhibits were now. So it was an honest opportunity for me to prevent the drugs from being taken, from being stolen, and continue to investigate the crime scene, arrest the suspects, continue with the witness statements and all that. That was my participation at the crime scene.
And you tried to do that as much as...
Correct. I tried to do that at the best of my ability. It's unfortunate that at the end of the day, we were disturbed. A lot of people started coming into the scene and we couldn't do anything.
And can you remember roughly between when the scene was handed to you, how time before you were actually disrupted to deal with the scene the way you would have dealt with your ability?
Sorry, I don't get you. Is it after my arrival? And
yes. So between your arrival and the handing over of the scene to and to the point where there was appearance. So how long were you roughly?
I can say less than 30 minutes because I was still busy on the bonnet. Then that's when a lot of them coming in and going to the buggy where the buggy was. It was not even 30 minutes.
All right. Let's go then. We deal with your first appearance. That will be on page 14, the statement.
Okay. On the 11th July 2021, Sunday, we were charged and our warning statements were taken by the DPCI investigation team led by Captain Phakula. We expressed our dissatisfaction with our arrest and requested that our warning statements be written down. I also advised Captain Phakula in the presence of his other team members to obtain a video footage at the crime scene as well as to do Section 205's applications in order to verify our version. In our statements, we mentioned the reasons why we were at the scene. On the 12th of July 2021, Monday, while we were waiting for our case to be called on the court roll at the Boysens Magistrate Court, our attorney at the time, Mr. Fenter, came and informed me that I was going to be released as the senior public prosecutor requested a statement from Colonel Sipungu and he gave it to them, confirming my version. If I may also add here, it was said by another witness here that, Colonel Stein, Commissioner, that he instructed Colonel Phakula to take a statement of Colonel Sipungu at the crime scene, when Colonel Sipungu was at the crime scene. So the statement of Colonel Sipungu was only taken at court on Monday, and after the instruction by the SPP to say, after reading my warning statements, to say Colonel Sipungu's statement must also be. I just wanted to clear that.
Chair, just for the record, the statement referring to, you don't have to go there, but it's CJC, if we don't need to go there. Perhaps before you proceed, as far as you are aware, has video footage seen?
No.
And Section 205, does that deal with cell phone record?
That's correct.
Sorry?
Yes, that's correct, Commissioners.
And what were you requesting here then, 205?
No, the 205 application should have assisted them in mapping out the communications between the arrested people and also placing us on the crime scene so that they can know whether we planned this thing before or where was I, for example, before I was called to the scene. Those things can assist. And the reason why you need to get this thing, this Section 205 and the video footage as soon as possible is that some get, I'm looking for a bit, but they disappear, like they expire, especially video footage. Maybe find out it's 7 days, then after 7 days you can't get that footage again. And it could have assisted a lot in proving what is it that actually happened on the crime scene.
And at paragraph 9, it's saying that your attorney, defendant, informed you. So out of the 4 accused, was he referring to you alone or the 4 of you were going to be released?
I understood it was me because it was after Colonel Sepungu was submitted.
What would the statement have said that you believe would?
He confirmed that I gave him a call and he gave me permission to attend the crime scene. Because otherwise, if he had said to me, you don't have to attend, I wouldn't have gone there. So he's the one who authorized my attendance.
All right, let's go to paragraph 50 then.
Our case was called at around 1500 hours, and to my surprise, the attorney requested to address the court and placed it on record. While on lunch, the head of Gauteng DPCI, Major General Kadwa, together with Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions, Advocate Mlodra, held a meeting with the Senior Public Prosecutor, and the decision to release me was overturned. The case was placed on the roll and remanded to the following day, the 13th of July, 2021, for a statement. We were imprisoned at Johannesburg Prison with no bail. On the 13th of July, 2021...
Maybe read to the record
they were released on bail. On the 13th of July 2021, we appeared at Boyson's Magistrate Court, and the case was remanded to the 21st of July 2021 for bail application at the Johannesburg Magistrate Court. While at Sun City Prison, I was called by the prison warden to inform me that I have a visitor and that I must come to the visiting area. To my surprise, the visitors were the DPCI investigation team of about 6 members led by Captain Phakula. They then told me they were instructed to come see me as they were told I had something to tell them. I told them there is nothing I can tell them as I have appeared before court already, and if I had anything to say, my attorney would have been part of that meeting, and that I never requested to see them. I was then taken back to my holding cell. While still in prison, I was visited by Brigadier Mbele, who came to serve me with SAPS Section 43 notice of suspension. This deals with the suspension without pay of SAPS members while in detention or in prison. On the 21st of July 2021, Captain Phakula came to oppose bail, and we submitted our witness statements of Colonel Sepungu, Lieutenant Colonel Mangena, Captain Midupi, Warrant Officer Mokanga, Warrant Officer Pogungwane, Warrant Officer Chidi, Sergeant Phakula, Sergeant Sape, and Sergeant Maja as exhibits to prove our innocence. We were granted bail on the same day. I must mention to Commissioners, Warrant Officer Mokanga was not part of the witnesses that I'm mentioning here. If you can scratch.
Must we delete the name?
Yes, Warrant Officer Mokanga he was not a witness.
Oh, thank you.
I called the Human Resource Management Office, a detective service, to inquire if I should report for duty after being granted bail. A PPO Melder said I should not, as I was already on suspension. The Section 43 was supposed to have been uplifted once I was released on bail, as was the case with Mokana's meeting with Major General Khan. While on bail, I received a call from former Warrant Officer Haynes, who told me Major General Khan wants to see me. I refused to meet with Major General Khan. A week or 2 weeks later, Warrant Officer Haynes called again and said, Major General Khan wants to meet with me, and this time I agreed and asked him to send me Major General Khan's contact numbers I wanted. On the 15th of September 2021, I called Major General Khan, and he did not answer the phone. I then texted him and said, Good day, Jen, it's Phakula. He replied and asked, where can we meet? And he will set up a meeting to my convenience, and asked if he can bring Major General Kadwa, and I refused and stated I will not be comfortable with both of them. At this stage, I was still not clear why Major General Khan wanted to meet with me, hence my discomfort with bringing Major General Kadwa to the meeting. On the 16th September 2021, Major General Khan called me and asked about my whereabouts, and I told him I was in Kibla Park area, and then he requested my location, and I shared it with him. He responded and said he will be there in 15 minutes. I waited for him, and then I saw him, Major General Khan, driving in his grayish VW Golf 7. I then went to him and got in his passenger side of the car. Major General Khan sympathized with me and explained he still did not understand why I was arrested because he left the scene as he had to rush to Cape Town. He further wanted to know how did the informer that was arrested with us get the information, and I said I did not know, but I can bring the informer to have a meeting with him so he can ask him himself. He further said they were not interested in me. They wanted Colonel Sepungu, and I said to him, Colonel Sepungu knew nothing about the operation. I'm the one who called and informed him about it. Major General Khan confirmed that he spoke with Colonel Sepungu on that day, and Colonel Sepungu, confirmed that I called and informed him about the drugs, and he gave me a permission to attend to the matter. Major General Khan asked me who the drugs belonged to, and I told him that people say they belong to him, and he laughed. He told me that he could see that I was doing an honest job, and I requested if he could submit a statement as there was a disciplinary hearing against me for the same case. He promised he would draft it and give it to me before my hearing, which was on Friday, the 18th of September 2021. We parted, and I promised I will avail the informer to him for an interview. He never submitted his statement as per his promise.
Warrant, can we then go on the same file that you have, go to page 20.
Same.
Statement 5, item 5, that will be item.
And then,
Yes, go to page 20. Can you describe to the Commission what is it on that page?
Commissioners, this is the screenshot of my conversations with General Khan.
Are you projecting? Mr. Musigiri, why not in the hearing?
That's Warrant Officer, we'll come back to this conversation between you and General Khan. Then let's move to the next topic, which is the notice to appear at the disciplinary here. And then you'll pick it up at paragraph 63 of statement. So that will be page 18.
Okay, notice to appear at a disciplinary hearing. Around August 2021, I received a phone call from Lieutenant Colonel Mashaba, who is employed at International Vehicle Crime Investigations at the head office, informing me he wants to meet with me in order to serve me with the notice to appear at an expeditious disciplinary hearing. I told Lieutenant Colonel Mashaba I have tested positive for COVID-19 and that I needed to isolate. About 2 weeks later, Lieutenant Colonel Mashaba called and requested that we meet. We met and he gave me the notice to appear for my discipline hearing, which was dated the 18th September 2021 at Stock Theft Courtroom. I was never served with a notice of investigation as per the regulations. No other documents shared except the factual report and the notice to appear at the hearing. Again, this was different from Ghana's disciplinary process. I was charged with defeating the ends of justice and possession of drugs. The chairperson of the hearing was Brigadier Kopoditata. I presented my case and gave all the statements I have prepared from my witnesses, which included a statement from Colonel Sipungu, Lieutenant Colonel Mangena, Captain Midupi, Warrant Officer Mokhana, Warrant Officer Pagungana, Warrant Officer Chidi, Sergeant Phakula, Sergeant Sape, and Sergeant Maja. The employer only presented a factual report which was prepared by DPCI investigation team and relied on it to prove the employer's case. The hearing was remanded for Monday, the 20th of September 2021. On Monday, the 20th of September 2021, I was dismissed from the SAPS. I immediately appealed the decision through the SSPC, Safety and Security Sectoral Bargaining Council. Poison's case 252 of 10, 2021.
Warrant Officer, you have in the list of Ghana.
Yeah, this time is
This time.
yes, thanks. Poison's case 252 of 10, 2021. Since our arrest, it has always been our intention, me, Warrant Officer Mokhana, Chief Mashaba, and the informant, that we should open a case against the members who arrested us. After consultation with our attorney, we opened a case against Major General Khan and the members of the DPCI, General Kadwa, Brigadier Sikhobela, Colonel Stein, Captain Zebola. We opened a case of defeating the ends of justice and theft of drugs. The case was investigated by IPID. According to crime scene management guidelines, the first member on the crime scene, regardless of rank or position, is tasked with assuming control and ensuring that no unauthorized individuals, including higher-ranking or police officers unrelated to the incident, gain access to the crime scene. These individuals played a huge role in arresting us, releasing the suspects that we had placed under arrest, and further tampered with exhibits which we believe were stolen. We relied on the investigation from IPID to further identify other perpetrators who might have also played a role in defeating the ends of justice and theft of drugs. When Major General Khan first arrived at the scene was under control. There were officers who came from crime intelligence, such as Lieutenant Colonel Moloi, who interacted with Warrant Officer Mokhana, who congratulated us on the good work we did. There were also other members who came to us, like Lieutenant Colonel Ndlela. He heard our story and left. Upon the disposal of the Boyson's case 98 of 7/2021, I realized that the exhibits were booked at Boyson's SAPS on Friday, the 9th of July, 2021. On Monday, the 12th of July, 2021, those exhibits were booked out and transported to Tshwane SAPS College. Exhibits were only booked in at forensic on Monday, 19th July, 2021. I then noticed that the forensic back numbers of exhibits that were received at forensic were different from those that were initially booked at the Boyson's SAPS. Furthermore, Warrant Officer Morris from DPCI, who transported the exhibits to forensic, his statement stated that a few forensic bags were damaged during transportation, that new forensic bags were used.
Warrant, here in this paragraph, when you say you realize that exhibit were booked at Boyson's, and then you later on say you note the forensic bag numbers that were received were forensic. What do you mean by that? How did you realize this? Where did you get it?
When we went for trial at the High Court, they disposed the copy of the docket to us, and copy of the docket included the SAP copy of the SAP 13 at Boyson's. So from that copy of the SAP 13 compared to the 212 statement from FSL, there were bags that were not reflecting, that were there at the Boyson's, but they're not reflecting at forensic.
All right, can you then move on to your paragraph 17 on further investigations?
Upon further investigations, it was found that one brick with a new forensic bag number was only received at forensic on the 10th of August 2021. This information was not part of the docket that was disclosed. The circumstances of this single brick are unknown. Who booked it? Where was the brick all this time? That information was deliberately concealed from us. It is evident that the intentions of these officers at the scene were not to investigate the crime. The only way for them to take control of the crime scene was to arrest us. In that way, they could divert their attention to the arrested police officers and let the real perpetrators free. In March 2022, we appeared at Boyson's Court, and we were served with indictment to appear at the High Court on the 22nd of April 2022. We were being charged with possession of drugs and drug trafficking. fraud, and defeating the ends of justice. The indictment was signed by Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions, Gauteng Local Division, Advocate J. Trotsky. After our appearance on the 22nd of April 2022, we received the disclosure of the docket Poisons Case 98 of 7, 2021, and we then requested our attorney, Mr. Joan Estienne, to prepare representations. Our representations were submitted and we received feedback through our attorney on the 24th of June 2022 from the Deputy Director of Public Prosecution, Advocate Serepo. In his report, the advocate stated that the evidence in this matter have been carefully considered by this office. We are of the view that there is prima facie evidence with reasonable prospects of a suspicion against the accused. Therefore, our representations were unsuccessful and declined. We then instructed Mr. Estienne to appeal that decision. Our trial date at the High Court was set for October 2022. Around July 2022, Mr. Joan Estienne submitted our appeal to Advocate Rodney de Kock, the Deputy National Director of Public Prosecutions. While still waiting for the outcome, I was informed by Colonel Sipongu, Captain Midupi, and Sergeant Phakula that they were called in for consultation. I was informed by both Sergeant Sape and Sergeant Phakula that during consultation with Advocate Ryan from Gauteng Local DPP, they advised her to demand the CCTV footage of the crime scene from the investigating team. This would have assisted the prosecution in getting the proof of what actually happened at the crime scene. Advocate Ryan also informed both Sergeant Sape and Sergeant Phakula that both their statements were not commissioned. Both the statements were not disclosed with the contents of the docket. They were not filed in the docket. Our case was provisionally withdrawn on the 12th of October 2022, pending the outcome of the appeal at NDPR. On the 29th of January 2024, Advocate Rodney de Kock wrote to Mr. Estienne in response to our representations, stating that he agrees with the recommendations of the Director of Public Prosecutions, Gauteng Local Division, Johannesburg, not to pursue the prosecution. General Kadwa inquired with Advocate de Kock the reasons for his decision, and Advocate de Kock responded with an email dated 21st of June 2024, stating his reasons. The Poisons Case 25210-2021 was submitted to Gauteng Local DPP for decision. The decision was taken by Advocate Trotsky, declining to prosecute General Khan and the members of the DPCI. We then decided to appeal the decision and wrote to the Director of Public Prosecution, Advocate Chauke, who also agreed with the decision by Advocate Trotsky. My reinstatement into SAPS. In November 2023, I successfully won my appeal to be reinstated in the SAPS. The award stated that I should be reinstated with the same terms and conditions as before my dismissal. I, however, reported for duty on the 16th April of 2024. Around September 2020.
Is there a reason why, if you were reinstated in November 2023 and only went back in April, can you explain that time?
Yes, Commissioners. I was also concerned with the amount of time that it took for the SAPS to finally implement the award that I should be reinstated. And it became clear at the later stage that some of the senior members were still trying to appeal the decision for my reinstatement in the SAPS. So this might have been the delay.
You were not the cause of it?
No.
You were ready to?
I was ready
to go back as soon as the award had been made in.
Correct.
You may proceed.
Around September 2024, I was shortlisted for a post-promotion at NINU, which is National Investigation Unit, post reference 3557 of 2024-2025. I went for an interview, and the chairperson of the interview panel was Major General Motsipe. When other post-successful candidates were announced, my post was not announced. No reasons were given. Major General Khan's disciplinary hearing. Around February 2025, I was one of the witnesses who testified at the disciplinary hearing of General Khan. The hearing was chaired by Lieutenant General Mukwanas. Other witnesses who were called to testify were Brigadier Ntuli, Lieutenant Colonel Maduleke, Captain Midupi, Chief Mashaba, Warrant Officer Marumo, Sergeant Phakula, Sergeant Sape. It was during these proceedings that I was informed by the employer representative, Major General Kumalo, that there is a report submitted by General Khan states DPCI has decided not to charge their members, and also that there is a letter from DPP Gauteng Local that states that the case against us will be enrolled soon. The report that Gauteng Local has decided on the case that was already at the office of the NDPP came as a shock to me. I then requested Major General Kumalo if he does have copies of the reports submitted by General Khan, and he said those reports form part of the exhibit of the hearing, and that he does not have. General Khan was eventually cleared of all charges by the chairperson. It came as no surprise to me, as days leading to this hearing, the chairperson of the disciplinary hearing, Lieutenant General Mukwanas, as well as the witnesses, came under negative media attack. The decision not to charge the DPCI members, as well as the document that was signed by Deputy Director Public Prosecutions, Advocate Serepo, which stated that Aeroton Case 98 of 7 2021 will be enrolled, were coincidentally presented at this hearing. I also listened to the hearing recording where Major General Khan said that I insisted on meeting him, and that Colonel Sipongu said to him when he inquired whether Colonel Sipongu knew where I was on 9 July 2021, and Colonel Supungu responded by saying he did not know my whereabouts. These were all misleading statements that might have influenced the decision of the chairperson. The fact of the matter is that Major General Khan gave instructions for the arrest of Tumelongu. He gave instructions to Warrant Officer Magane to sit in the car and not to get out. He prevented dock unit from performing their duties at the scene. He disarmed Chief Mashaba. Lieutenant Colonel Mwaluleke saw him walking with the driver away from the crime scene, the driver who was placed under arrest. My frustration posed the written drug bust. I applied for the Detective Service Post promotion for Post 3557 at National Investigation Unit on the 30th of August 2024. Major General Motsepe was the chairperson of the interview panel. I was recommended for promotion to Post 3557. The post was presented to the National Moderation Committee, where Major General Motsepe was part of the Moderation Committee, and additional information regarding the alleged outstanding criminal case was requested, and Brigadier Kronje communicated with Brigadier Sekhovela, who sent an email to confirm that Boysen's case will soon be enrolled. Despite this information, my promotion was subsequently approved with effect from 1st March 2025, as per the letter signed by Lieutenant General Nkua. Major General Motsepe wrote an email to Legal Services, the Divisional Commissioner, Human Resource Management, as well as the Support Head Detective and Forensic Services. In her email, she attached the letter that was produced by Major General Khan at his disciplinary hearing, the letter from DPP Gauteng Local, Johannesburg, that stated the case against us will be enrolled soon. On the 12th of May 2025, I was told by Brigadier Ramangwa that the Deputy National Commissioner, Lieutenant General Sibia, wants to see me. I met with General Sibia. He told me that he is in possession of the email that was written by Major General Motsepe seeking legal opinion regarding my post-promotion. Lieutenant General Sibia further showed me a letter from DPP Gauteng Local, which was attached to the email, and asked what is happening with that case. I told General Sibia that the case was withdrawn in court on the 8th of October 2022, and that there is no pending case against me, and I have no case to answer. Lieutenant General Sibia then made a copy of that letter from Gauteng Local DPP and handed it to me. Lieutenant General Sibia further sympathized with me, as he stated that he also went through the same treatment upon his return SAP, and that he understands exactly how I feel. After leaving Lieutenant General Sibia's office, I took the letter and sent it to my attorney, Mr. Johan Extian, who sent an email to DPP Gauteng Local to inquire about the legitimacy of the letter. Mr. Extian never received any feedback from DPP. I was advised by my South African Police Union representative, PM Hlongwane, that I should register a grievance, which I did. It was later referred to the Safety and Security Secretarial, but as per case reference PSS 304 of 25. On the 20th of June 2025, I received a call from Colonel Nkosi, the staff officer of Lieutenant General Sintumule, informing me I should go to HRM and see Captain Ntuli sign my post acceptance certificate. On the 25th of October 2025, I was informed by Colonel Nkosi that the Divisional Commissioner, Lieutenant General Sintumule, said any member from the rank of a colonel can sign my post acceptance certificate. On Friday, the 27th of June 2025, I approached Colonel Jansen van Vieren, who told me he will not sign my post certificate unless the Divisional Commissioner instructs him to do so. It was at this point I approached the senior attorneys and instructed them to take this matter to CCMA. Our case was set down for the 8th of September 2025 for conciliation and arbitration with reference number GATW 12209 of 25. The matter was remanded to the 12th of September 2025. Upon the said date, I was surprised to see Major General Khan in the witness area. He came to testify against. I was advised by my attorney, Mr. Besinga, to withdraw the case in order to allow employer to decide on my suitability. On the 3rd of October 2025, I was called by Brigadier Kronje to sign another post acceptance certificate. I signed, and Brigadier Kronje also signed and recommended that I was not the suitable referring to the Poison's case 98 of 7 2021 as the reason why I should not be promoted. I explained to Brigadier Kronje that the case is finalized and that I have no pending case against me. On the 11th of November 2024, the Acting Divisional Commissioner...
Warrant Officer, should it not say 2025? That's the date correct. 2025 here.
On the 11th of November 2025, the Acting Divisional Commissioner, Major General Mukhali, confirmed my post-promotion by signing the post-acceptance certificate. It has been more than 4 months. I am not yet promoted. No reasons, no explanation is given. I believe I am unfairly treated due to my arrest in Boysen's case 98 of 7 2021. I was unfairly dismissed from the SAPS for the same case after winning my case at SSB. When I first reported for duty, Lieutenant Colonel Chauke informed me that management has decided I should report to the Organized Crime Unit under Major General Shibiri. When I asked who he refers to as management, he said the component heads, meaning Major General Motsepe and Major General Shibiri. I went and reported Organized Crime Unit, and I was told by Major General Shibiri that Major General Motsepe said to him that she does not want me to report back at her component. That is when he agreed that I can come work with him at Organized Crime Unit. There was no consultation, and the decision went against the award, which stated I should be reinstated with the same terms and conditions as before my dismissal. My union representative approached the office of Lieutenant General Sintumule and requested that the award be fully implemented and that I should be placed where I should be. It was only after Colonel Nkosi, the staff officer of Lieutenant General Sintumule, sent an email to Brigadier Kwahiba and Lieutenant Colonel Chauke on the 10th of June 2024 that I was told to report at National Investigation Unit Serious and Violent Crimes Component.
Should we change that again? Warrant of 2025 or 2025? 2020?
Yes, in 2025, I was shortlisted, recommended for post-promotion 3557, 2024, 2025. I have exhausted all avenues with APS with regards to that post. My promotion is still not yet confirmed. The matter was settled at SSBC with the ruling confirming my promotion. Then, when I last spoke to my union representative, he informed me Major General Cavender is in possession of my promotion document, but nothing has been done. I know and understand the contents of the statement. If no objection, consider the oath to be binding. Signed 28th of May.
Thank you, Warrant Officer. Do we now go to those WhatsApp chats? Are you able to flight them?
Yes, Chair, we'll do that perhaps because it's 11 o'clock. Let's use the time to launch it.
Let's resume at 11:30. Let's adjourn.
No, it wasn't. He never gave. I think I wanted him perhaps to advise him how to. I believe maybe I wanted, but he didn't respond. Then at the end of the day.
Yeah, but it doesn't gel. Looks like you say there's something. Our statement was by you or
No,
because if you were only asking for a statement 5.
Commissioner Tumal, I never received a statement. Maybe I was sending him a text to remind him in a way. I'm still waiting for that. Yes,
The text creates them to say, "Hi, General, there's something I was regarding,"
Yes.
and that suggests
No, that's not what.
because here you're not asking. Here is a
I must say, I might have been trying to be polite as possible because I was on his mercy for him to submit that.
Warrant.
I understand that. If I may respond to that, I didn't statement.
Why did you not want, is there any
There's no specific reason, Commissioner. And I'd say I was not going to feel comfortable when both of them were there because I didn't know what is it that is. He just wanted to meet me, and then he wanted to invite somebody else, and I was still confused as to what is it that he's looking for. And also with General Kadwa, I was still not okay with what I've heard he did at Poison's Court. So he came to influence the SPP to enroll our case where I was promised I was going to go. So I was not feeling okay.
Warrant Officer, then text. So that exchange is on the 16th September. Then the very next day, on the 17th, then General Khan says to you, "Good morning, good luck, your matter."
Correct, that's correct.
And keep in mind the concern that Commissioner raised. It seems to be that you have this, and his greetings to you, it does not appear that it's someone still owes you something. He's very aware that you have agreed. And he starts the 8:28 to say to you, "Good luck with your matter." In fact, your response, you say, "Thanks," and that does not accord. It will not accord with someone who doesn't have a statement. Answer would have been, "I'm still waiting for."
No, my response will be on page 19, underneath that. Thanks, General. It was can I read it?
Yes.
Thanks. It was postponed to Monday. I mentioned your statement and I was told I should bring it on Monday if it's ready. So I'm asking if it is possible to get it before Monday, General. So I didn't have that statement.
And then continue on the 22nd. There's a chat.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks. On the 22nd of September 2021, I texted, even in general, I was dismissed from the SAP. Then it was at 2039. And then he responded, "Hi, Steve, I just got home now." It was 2022-48. Sorry to hear about your dismissal. It was 22. Then I saw the message the next morning, and then I responded, "Yes, it's difficult to take this, General, especially when I know I did nothing wrong, and perhaps your statement should have made a difference."
And that's the
I never.
And then you also then promised to assist to arrange a meeting for me.
Yes.
You're like 2, and then what became the second agreement make?
No, we never took it further, and he never called me back again after this, and I never communicated with. So he never saw the informer after.
To date, you've never
Yes, I
had an
did.
interaction in terms of this matter.
No, not.
and how would you have made?
Yes, obviously I would have made arrangements with Mashaba to avail him. No.
So how could you?
Obviously I was going to Mashaba, and then I would have taken it from there.
Point is time.
Yes.
And how did having not spoken?
Yes.
How
No, I believed if I speak to Mashaba, he won't have a problem to inform her. No, but
you did not know? You did not know.
Commissioner, if I may explain, we went together to prison, and obviously we spoke, and we ended up understanding each other better and all that. And so when I said I'll make him available, I had an understanding that knowing Mashaba from prison, if I can talk to him, he wouldn't have a problem with him availing the informer. Yes, that's what I said.
Why would you make aware that,
Yes.
and you're not saying anything in your statement that suggests you didn't believe it? You mentioned it to him that had about
Yes,
you.
yes.
And yet in that same conversation, I make the informer claim that behavior doesn't make sense.
I did not take it. It doesn't make sense at the time because I was also desperate for that statement, and also I believed with General Khan at Crime Intelligence and the informer, then it could have somehow I could have introduced, they could have maybe exchanged information, both of. So it was based on that, the exchange of information as to, because what he was interested was how did the informer know.
Well, that's what you test, that he wasn't at how the informer knew, but you've told him in that conversation as well, or you have background to him, that actually they say you are involved in dealing with drugs in whatever form. That's what is being said about you. And then you say, well, I'll expose you to an informer who informs on drugs being available in the country. At the very least, it seems to me that you, in fact, would have been putting the informer's life at risk, expose him to somebody that you have had the dealing with.
I accept that.
You accept that. Seems like a poor choice
Correct,
to
Commissioner.
have made.
I accept.
And maybe a related question I might as well ask. There was talk that they can, and you've said to the chairperson within the, at which level? Was it just corridor gossip among the juniors? Something that you say, well, even, I've heard that some senior people were aware of that or part of talk. At which level was being shared?
It was corridor gossip, casual chats, casual talk among colleagues.
And when I think as I understand the evidence, there's a complaint that was laid arising from IPID, and that includes General Khan.
Yes.
And your group would have been the ones that's what, and quickly against General Khan, what was it be charged?
It would have been the defeating the ends of justice and the theft of.
And it didn't that IPID should involve with
I understood it when I say theft of drugs include.
that involved.
Yes.
This thing that you say was a talk.
Yes.
Did you specifically say to? I imagine I statement.
Yes.
Did you specifically say to alleging?
No, I didn't, and simply because I did not have a statement to support my accusation. I didn't have those powers. If I had the statement that the person who was telling me, then I would have.
Didn't think mention it and leave it to talk. It must have been that talk or of quality that you later do mention it. It wasn't passing the SAP. It must have been enough to mention it. Consider that you IPID did not consider that lied because it's quite a serious allegation.
Correct.
To be made about someone. So it shows the seriousness mentioned that to a complaint. Thought he did all of this because you were complaining. It's their drugs.
Yes,
The
yes,
defeating of justice. Right?
Yes.
I would have thought that statement and should have been to you say, in fact, the talk is that's what explains behavior. I don't understand and think that.
Yeah, I accept that, but as I mentioned, I thought if the person who was telling me that is not willing or he won't be submitting statement, it won't be.
Warrant of the crime scene, Aeroton. In your statement 8,
Paragraph
23. Now, at paragraph 23, are you there? Yes. Now, this is where you say that your observation, the scene was handed at you say stage. The scene was uncontrolled in bags in forms, but with time scene was the dock unit. I want to state an conclusion of you with the instruction. Before we get there, can you accept for a moment? You cannot seriously confirm that we're in their code form. You wouldn't know that. Do you accept that? That
Yes,
it's not correct to say
yes,
that. There's a file. It says stain file 2.
DJC, what?
You see the 219.
Starting at page 130.
Yes. I would like the chair to start at page 1.
Perhaps before you start with warrant of paragraph 24 of yours, page 8.
and there
Yes, there you say that's the end of the third. You say, I can also confirm that the scene was what handled in line with the SAPS 1 2015. We have said that everything that they could have done wrong, it was a stuffer. And when we questions to him, except it wasn't. When I engaged him in the morning, he accepted both he and the chief were open quote clueless closed. How can you say what you are saying?
Commissioner, I have to concede that it's wrong. The scene was not in line with the National Instruction 1 of 2015, and I perhaps was mentioning the scene after my arrival.
No, that cannot be. That's about the scene as it should have been. You cannot focus on what you found. Anyway, there are problems regarding what you said, what you found. So your statement is totally untrue.
Correct.
Why did you make that?
As I mentioned,
Were you protecting your colleague, Warrant Officer Magane?
No.
Why did you?
Hence, I'm saying it was to me it was understood that after my arrival, finding those. But I take Commissioner's point that the scene should have started first.
Yes. Maybe let me test you on what you say that you were speaking to. You found. What do you mean by
Speaking to the exhibits themselves.
And when you say the scene was in accordance with National Instruction 1 of 2015, with regard to what do you mean by it?
I'm referring to the exhibit.
What do you mean by that?
Like that's what the evidence leader was asking about when I said evidence. The exhibits were still secured in bags.
So what you found, go to page 109, same file. Go to page 109.
109.
109. You see the black bucket, that's the file written, it's the very same file, page 109. Please project.
In the same file.
No, I understand. I've taken you to your state. But at 109, there seems to be a problem. Anyway, at 109, what you see there is black, an official vehicle used by Warrant of Hana, correct? And we have there, and we do see the red car somewhere on the right hand. That's your car. So you have arrived. You are at the scene. So this is how you found this content, correct? And based on what we see there, why is it that you say that scene, open quote, was handled in line with the SAPS 1? Why do you, based on what?
That's how it's explained, referring it to my consent to learn.
How do you know that? How did you know that? How did you then, and how do you now? You just find them lumped there, and there's nothing beyond that you know.
Except for the statements of Nia.
Do you not agree that it's fair? You were trying to, everything was seen. That's fair. That seems fair to a second. Because one, you tell, and two, you then attempt to get out of that by saying, no, I was concentrating. But even that, so what seems to be...
No, I wouldn't do that.
What were you you do? Telling a lie.
I do not have any explanation, not that I was covering for him. Yes.
You just told a lie for the sake of it. Ubuama kafe.
No, not.
Leave it.
On the top covering up, why did you say to your that when we know that he crime is your superior has you called said to Aeroton? So why would you must have known that?
No, honestly, I did not know. And what I understand even now, sitting here, is that SAMEC is another leg of crime intelligence. I might be wrong. So he always introduced himself, and like I said in my statement, most of the informers in that area, I got assistance from him when we were working. So that goes together with crime intelligence.
No, but
so,
you know he works.
Correct.
But how can that be? Even I know you and experienced who has worked, who was previously. Why would you? And I'm raising this because you've created. But the truth is, what you told your superior is the crime intel requested, and on the basis of what you told him, yes. But what you told him.
No, Commissioner Kumar. From what I understand, Warrant Officer Magane, he works in SAMEC. It's another department in crime intelligence. That's why I said crime intelligence. And like I'm explaining, he's been giving information for and people who are working with informers are from crime intelligence.
No, maybe everybody. If you had said to yourself, a police officer from chasing drugs, and it's just him and a traffic, the two of them only called him. I doubt that. Yes, go, because you are at a level of a warrant. The only reason your superior allowed you told him that crime intel. He says you told him that crime intel asked on that that he go ahead. Hence, I say led you. It was on the basis that he allowed you.
No, I would disagree with you.
Is your superior lying with crime intel?
No, I told him.
You told him that,
yes.
And that is crime intel.
But Warrant Officer Magane, although he's at SAMEC is under crime intelligence.
So why did you not say to somebody in SAMEC is following track only here?
Honestly, I did not know about SAMEC up until our arrest. Because to me, he works at crime intelligence. I'm not familiar with what is happening in Zangezizwe. He's working at crime intelligence. Whether SAMEC or what, he's at crime intelligence.
Right, let's go back to your discussion with Chesson about paragraph 24 statement, where you say your explanation of that part of what you say there is that you were explaining, you are speaking to after you arrived there, you have your statement,
page 24.
Page 8, that's in your statement, page 8.
I'm there, Commissioner.
Yes, so the answer that you give to the chairperson cannot be because you open that paragraph by saying primary responsibility of the first responding officer. So you're not the first responding, Magane is the first responding. And then you say all of that's done after saying, because that opening paragraph is about the responsibilities of the responding officer. That's what they must do. They must take control and secure the crime scene. To ensure integrity and originality. That whole list is what the first responder must do.
Correct.
Now, you say, without your explanation, reading this paragraph, you are saying that's what Magane did. That's what that paragraph. And so your answer to the chairperson that you're speaking only to the period after you arrived cannot be correct, cannot be the truth. The truth is you are conveying what Magane did on that scene, and that is false because he did not do any of that. And you had no way of knowing what he did when he...
Correct, Commissioner.
Yes, so it is false, that's what you represent in that whole paragraph.
Correct.
Two, even if one were to entertain your explanation, which is this is you speaking about after you arrived, you did not do any of that. You did not ensure the integrity and originality of evidence exhibits. You found them on the van and you did nothing about it.
Correct, Commissioner.
Right? You didn't ask why, at least in your statement, you don't say, I asked why are they on the van? Where were they? You don't say that in the statement, but importantly, you didn't do B, right?
Correct.
Investigate and process the crime scene thoroughly and undisturbed. The scene was already disturbed, so you're misleading when you say that's what happened. Responder investigated and processed the crime scene thoroughly and undisturbed. And the rest of record facts and events. You did not do any of that. You tell us you took a statement from Jolene. You ask questions and taking a statement. You're not even sure whether you completed that state. You do say that.
Correct, Commissioner.
Yes. So None of that was listed in paragraph 24A2G. Did you do personally?
Correct.
So you're not. So your answer. That's another reason why your explanation that 24 is about accounting for what you did once you got there. It's not correct. It's a false representation.
I agree.
And it still raises the question: why would you mislead about something like this? And leads to, until you give a proper explanation, it leads reasonably to the conclusion that, well, you were trying to cover up. For Magane, whatever you knew about what he did, you were covering up for it. Do you want to comment?
I agree with Commissioner Baloyi with all the points, but I'm honestly saying cover up, it's not in my mind.
Maybe now that we're dealing with that first risk. Warrant Officer Magane, you say in statement that Warrant Officer Magane handed over the scene. That's another misrep. It did not happen at all. The question again is, why would you say that when it did not? And it did not happen because Warrant Officer Magane told us what happened. He said Mashaba was in charge of the scene. And we had a lengthy discussion with him about that, and he accepted that Mashaba was the person responsible. And Magane was asked the question, you were the first responder, your SAPS. SAPS, and you have a national instruction that tells you what do you do as SAPS when you arrive there. And he said, I accept. I didn't do what I should have done. Mashaba was in charge of the scene. He could not have handed up the scene to you. For that reason, again, that's a false misrepresentation. By you, or, and most unlikely, by Magane when he says Mashaba was in charge of the scene. So one of you is not telling the truth. But we have the version of the first response who says Mashaba was in charge of the scene. So it is false that he handed over the scene to you. He couldn't hand it over to you if he wasn't in charge of it.
Commissioner, I hear what, and I agree with what you're saying. That's what he said. But the scene was handed to me by Mogana as the one who phoned me to come to the scene. As to why he denied being in charge of the scene, I don't know.
He called you to the scene. There's no question about that. He called you, and you tell us in a statement that he said, I want backup. Nowhere in your statement do you say to us, he called me and said, I want the scene. He called and he said he wants backup. Now you are at the scene. You say he handed the scene, and all I'm putting to you, he couldn't, if on his own version he was not in charge of that scene, then he had no scene to hand over. He couldn't hand over. And either you or him are lying to the commission.
Indulge me. You said somewhere in your statement that in the regular, you say this will lodge this as a can, and you say, regardless of the rank, you arrive at a scene, you don't.
Correct.
You say because they did that while you were already there, they acted properly.
Correct.
But my difficulty with that is that when you arrived at the SAPS vehicle that were already two uniformed police vehicles, and yet you did exactly, you bypassed them. Isn't that unfound? You should have let them tell you what is going on, what they found. And they are the ones who you, if they saw.
No, Commissioner. What happens is the first member on the scene, we agree it was Mogana, SAPS member Mogana. So if it was supposed to be the Boysen's members to hand over the scene to me, it would have been Mogana handed over the scene to them and then to me. So hence I'm saying.
You're not listening. He says Mogana has not hit was Mashaba. So if anybody needed to hand over Mashaba, because Mashaba, the SAPS don't apply to the officers who were in uniform, who were responding to a complaint, Mogana, are criminals who are in the jet, Escania. SAPS officers went there. You arrive there to find a police. SAPS, they don't hand over to what they are investigating because they are there investigating attack.
Correct.
Right?
Correct, yes.
Now, as far as they are concerned, that's the truck. And the suspects are Mogane and Mashaba. But when you get there, you bypass, you start doing whatever it is that is not clear because you did nothing to start with the back. You did not touch them, you did not secure them, you did nothing. So it's not clear exactly what you did with there, other than the seals that you properly. So even on your version, it's that you did not comply with SU.
If I may answer, Commissioner, yes, the two Boysen police attended the scene on the basis of truck hijacking, but it ended up, it's not a truck hijacking, it's the scene of Mashaba and Mogana of possession of drugs. It's no more their mandate that they came for. It is the other way.
And according to you, the scene was not the back. The scene was there.
Yes, I take
Did
that.
you cordon off the 7 1,000 rands?
No, to be honest, Commissioner Kumar, that car, I was not even, because it was standing there, I did not even know, like, as I said in my statement, the first time I saw the driver was when we were in the back of the, because I was concentrating on what I was doing.
So which scene did?
Where the drugs were. As I mentioned on that tape, when they were, because that's where my scene was, where I was concentrating.
And how did you know it was drugs?
The smell, with the smell.
Smell of
cocaine.
The smell cocaine.
Yes.
And you could tell that
It was suspected cocaine.
Is that why you arrested?
Correct. But they were not arrested by me physically.
You said you gave somebody.
It was Captain Midupi. Actually, he's the one on page 109 of Stains Bundle.
And you gave, what did you
The cable ties.
Cable ties.
Yes.
You gave the instruction.
Yes.
And why? Why did instruction?
For possession of drugs.
But how do you know they possess drugs? You arrived there and you found drugs. How do you know that?
Because the statement, Commissioner, were that those drugs are from the truck that he was driving.
Yes, but you're not arresting the driver. You arrest. So why were you arresting the other two?
No. As I explained in my statement, the person that I requested Captain Midu to cuff, it was the driver, and I was busy taking a statement on the second person. So the decision whether to arrest or release was going to be finalized when Lieutenant Colonel Madlanga.
So you arrested the driver on the basis that smelled it, and you were told that's driving truck. That you were
correct.
Instruction.
Not per se, Commissioner Kumar. When I arrived at the scene, he was arrested, right? And
no, you said you gave instructions that he cuffed with the.
Yes, I'm coming there. Yeah. So while the scene was chaos, he was now standing on the other side. Then I went to fetch him and handed over to him to Captain Midu to cuff with the cable tie.
Early today, you mentioned what your experience with narcotics or drugs is. Do you remember? You were being questioned by Mr. Musigiri.
Correct, Commissioner.
Yes. And my sense was that you don't have much experience. Am I correct?
Correct, Commissioner.
And I think you said the largest consignment you would have been involved in was something like 5 kg.
Correct, Commissioner.
And 5 kg of what?
I think it was cat.
Cat.
Get, yes.
Oh, all right.
Yes.
And not cocaine, obviously.
Correct.
Now, I'm interested to know how you would have smelt the cocaine.
No, with the smell that was coming from the bag, obviously, one could smell that it would be. Although I did not know if it's a cocaine or it was.
Do you know how cocaine smells?
Right now I know how it
At the time, did you know how cocaine smelled?
Hence, I was saying, Commissioner, I did not know.
You did not know.
Yes, what kind of a drug?
But in response to Commissioner Khumalo, is that not the impression you gave, that is, you could smell the cocaine?
Yes, I should have said I should smell like that. I said
Meaning you smelled cocaine. That's what you meant in response to Commissioner Khumalo.
yes.
So that was untrue.
No, it
Because
is.
you've just said now, at the time, you did not know how cocaine smells. So it was untrue to respond to Commissioner Khumalo that you smell the cocaine, because at the time you did not know how it smells.
But there was a smell coming out of the bags,
We're
Commissioner.
talking about cocaine.
Oh,
You say you did not know at the time how cocaine smells.
Yes, I agree.
But in response to his question, you said you could smell the cocaine. So I'm saying if you did not know how cocaine smelled, you could not, or it would be untrue to have responded to Commissioner Khumalo by saying you smelled the cocaine. That was untrue, correct?
Correct, Commissioner.
You've told quite a number of untruths when all three of us are engaging you on a number of issues. Do you want to explain why you've told that many untruths, Warrant Officer?
It is not per se that maybe it is how I explain it, because I wanted to say I could smell it drug, but I understand I already considered it cocaine. Statement was false. I do not have any.
It's untrue, so you cannot change that, and you've basically accepted that it was untrue, so you cannot make it true. You've already accepted it was untrue. I don't understand what purpose the explanation serves. Do you think it serves any explanation?
I suppose.
Thank you.
Warrant Officer, you are at the National Intervention Unit. Is that the same thing that is common to NIE? There is a thing here in your explain. The acronym is NIE.
Yeah, that's a correct NIE.
The same unit normally referred to as just NIU or another unit.
No,
called
there's another unit of NINU. And then
which is where, and then NIU.
NIU is another unit, the intervention unit.
It's a different
unit.
Okay. Now, paragraph 5, you set out that's
Yes, that's correct.
you like head of inquiry files have told us that.
Correct.
The question,
Correct, Commissioner.
how do you basically,
Yes,
you
I'm
say
based in-
you get called by a person, you get something planes far from someone.
Okay, I'll start with the jurisdiction part. I'm working nationally. Hence, in May of that same year, I was in Richards Bay, Emangu. I forgot that court, the High Court, we were dealing with another matter. We work nationally, so, and then the issue of involving myself, I first permission that he said, no, don't go.
It's another question discussion superior the call from. It doesn't mean anyone's not Boris, a head of inquiry, and so I'm involved with out.
Commissioner, I got permission. I got involved by first thing first.
What I could ask you maybe one side, you could have said, look, I can't have refer people that your unit or the right by Sunday. You don't.
The reason is the information, the info was supposed to be attended. So maybe the delay in attending to the drugs would disappear.
No, he didn't say to. He said we have it coming back to. So don't do maybe they said to. In fact, I want to forget any explanation. There wasn't. Magane and Mashaba had control. The truck, they went to depot, they followed the truck, they got to Scania, reported themselves, the bag hit in, took. So there was no age required your in. Don't let the questions. This has nothing to function. All the connection, you and Magane are friends before. You told us that. That's the only connection. He calls you about some unit. Why do you not choose getting, especially something that you know nothing? You've never done drug bus. You've told us about never done trucks coming. And the question is asked because circumstance of including that's why the question.
No, I understand. And Commissioner, I honestly asked because I was available and there was no and I seek permission and it was granted. That's the only reason why.
You say you tell us in warrant of backup. Is that backup? What does it?
Backup would include the role players, whatever the crime that you.
You're not saying that it calls you.
Role play. Yes. By virtue of telling me to back up, then I know that kind of crime will need a photographer. That's why I'm calling them.
And you do that without knowing whether he called us. You don't tell a couple. You're not the only one for backup. Not every day. I'm very busy in the outside. What is so active now? Calling and gathering.
There's a paragraph where I mentioned that he told me that he's been trying to get other people who are out of the province or others whose phones are off. Although I didn't write it in the statement that he said he phoned, because he probably told me about Dr. Unitas, he phoned Maja. I included it in that statement that he wanted me to. He told me that he was calling other people but who are not.
You ever had? Anders never had
the drug scene of this.
The drug scene, and I may have. You don't have it.
I'd say I have crime scene management, but
you just not. So when you without it, you understand backup calling everyone else. Why do you the first you do, man?
Yes.
Why are you always have a long? Why you know?
Commissioner, as I said, the first call I made it was Captain Midupi. Captain Midupi is my, and then.
I thought you called him.
No, Captain Midupi came to us. Colonel Sepong is the one that. So after Captain Midupi, I phoned the doc unit, and then they are the ones that told me that a Lieutenant Colonel of SANEP has this. I did not need to call other people. I believe that they only come.
And just to warrant of Khane.
Yes, that's another one. Initially, when I phoned the forensic lab, I was of the opinion that they still come to that. That's when I was told that they no more do that. So when he phoned me to say he wants play, so I understood it. He wants to arrange every role player for.
Third Division Instruction 15. So that's the CJC 219. On that page, the summary of the crime scene broadly be divided into phases. Then let's go through them and find them. The first phase will be and then the activation, responding, controlling, over, planning, instigating, debriefing, storing, releasing, evaluation. And in this case, you had at least testified that you were involved, the handover. I want us to go and look at the handover phase, what that is alleged or statement. That will appear on page 140 to go about 10 pages. See there at 12, it deals with the handover. The first phase would have been dealt with yesterday. It's under control. It's the first, it's remaining control of crime scene, hence the coordinate area of the crime command, and hence the beyond to the CC or C. You accept that it's on your version, then you would have at least tried to fit yourself as the crime scene commander if we accept warrant of the scene. Now, the following page at 3, it deals with the designation of crime scene commander. It says that the must identify a unit in accordance with quantity plan and incident of the unit. And I put it to you that you did not do that. Did not identify unit in accordance with the plan.
Where you?
If you go to 141, if you go to 3,
yes.
3A, it says that the designation crime scene commander in your version, then it says that the dispatcher obtained in accordance with the relevant to none of that because there was no report.
I'm still trying to digest it because the dispatcher, these are the roles.
You see the designation of perhaps let me help you. Go to number 5, and it talks about stability of the crime scene commander following the first. Once the first in place, the crime scene end is the signing of the first responder extra, and you accept it.
No.
And then say obtain a comprehensive receive any of them.
Comprehensive, like it.
And then I'll take you to go to the following page. On 13, it deals with the planning the crime scene. This includes a walk to the crimes commander and meetings with the role players such as crime forensic. And it says at 13, the crime scene must evaluate the first of the crime scene, taking into consideration used might need to be processed, walk through, appropriate you want. And you accept that none of that. You did not walk, not the list, have meetings with 3 that you and you wear any PEs.
Yeah, but I made a walkthrough when I first went to and I consumed 30 minutes of my arrival.
In your statement, you say that it's quite clear. You met Magane, briefed you to them together with started. Nothing first. And even if you walked, never wore.
Did not.
And for the purpose of this conversation, I think the quiet requirement quite obvious met. What I want to read to at least E, it says you crimes. Well, when I say you as commander port. You never attempted. All you did was.
If I may. Yes, that's true. What happened when you get to the crime scene to go through. When you were at the scene, you were concentrating on statements. I accept. I did not.
Are you suggesting warrant of compliance structure?
No. I'm not saying however. In a normal, I'm not saying optional.
So when you find it, you may choose not.
No.
Please make me.
No, you have to still to
please continue.
How many bags?
When I arrived or as we were arrested.
You say
yes, I checked on that they were still the way they were when
you found the Baki primary.
It was now in the track was.
One of the point I was trying to do accept.
Basically, I
yes, I just put the witness crimes.
I will not look to you.
Benefit from the lunch hour that we had. Maybe just get some clarity from the warrant officer.
Oh, please go ahead.
Thank you. Warrant, I spent the lunch trying to give contact U12. One of the scene, brother, a sergeant of unit. You remember that, the K9 unit, and you accept that the reason why you need dogs to be there is foul to drugs, the premises. I found source following from what exchange you're having with the chair that you could smell or you can smell, and your version was 9 then to say no, it's a scene. Remember that? Remember that exchange between you and in this particular, in to demonstrate and first of all, you would not need to you yourself smell any drugs, whatever format that you smell drugs, sniff out any of those drugs. In particular, in this, have a look at were wrapped. Chair, can we go to CJC
204?
That is a picture of bags. If you go further, you'll see that they are tightly. In fact, witness came to specifically on how to wrap these, especially the ocean, anything he wrapped, and all the labeling materials. And
actually, sorry to answer. Actually, from what we see it before, there's the like ordinary, and then my understanding is that inside those, let's go to page 5, inside those canvas, and then inside the canvas bag is what you see on this canvas, and also where you see this. So it's the outer plastic bag, it's the canvas bag, and then it's the plastic wrapping inside canvas. Yeah, you may continue with
the point. I would only the chair, even the risk cannot smell. You possibly smelled under those. So your version smelled it. What do you say?
I disagree with that. That's how. There was one bag. Look at in one of the pictures it shows from then that one.
Maybe let's then explore this. You go there with your how you're smelling.
No, I can't go. No, I didn't go through it. From what I could see with the packaging and all that, I could smell that.
And you also could smell
that.
Unless you expect hope.
Can you please explain this thing you're saying about that was, you say that was,
Yes, at that stage, there was a bag.
you say at a later stage, at what stage was?
During that chaos, I can't remember exactly when it was. During when
I also took to page 5, and the bag at page, the canvas bag at page 5 is open. Is that what you 7? There's another one at 7. Is that what you mean?
pictures that are when they were still on top.
On the parking. So you want that picture where your car in front to the right. You want that picture. Can you please take?
09.
Yes, please show us the. Are you there?
Yes.
Show us the open bag. Yes. And so.
From touching,
No. So I don't see any difference between this and what I showed you at was it 5 and 7? There's no difference. There is not just tears on the plastic bag, but these have actually taken out of the bags, and yet you see that what's inside is still sealed. So it's not as if once you have tears like you show us there, you see drugs that are bare.
No, they were not bare.
Yes,
There were bricks inside.
So I don't understand then, just because you saw tears on the bags, that should mean that it smelled.
It might have.
No, you're just relying on that just because you. Anyway, all of that is irrelevant. Because when I engaged you earlier, you accepted the no idea whatever how it smells, and yet you had said to Commissioner Kumalo smelt, and on that basis I said you, because later when I'm engaging you, you accept that you do not know how, and yet you had said you smelt. So I'm saying none of this is irrelevant to the extent that now you are digging in your heels as if all of that is irrelevant. The bottom line, you do not know how, and you lied when you said it smelt.
To say to him, as he must have known that.
I did not know.
And just to close it, you are now relying on try to bolster your version deeds. I will not say cocaine because you do not know. Bolster your version. Your comment.
No, I'm not.
And what drugs? What smell of drugs? We know that you do not know how cocaine smells, but you say that it smells. What smell of?
Should have been.
And what makes that?
Because the suspicion was that it's iconic.
So it becomes drugs just because you've been told that suspicion they were trying to drugs.
Maybe let me start off by adding, you've heard what you're proposing. Let me add why explanation to why you say you smell cocaine, the drug. It can be, you said you did not tell the back because you did not contaminate any further. That when you were asked, why do you not, now that the scene was ordered off the scene, shouldn't be, and you say, I didn't want to. So it's a lie. You touched on the basis, or you did touch them. So you lied and said, I didn't want to. I didn't want to. The two can't.
Accept that, Commissioner.
The second reason I say your fault is that you wouldn't have written in your describe the scene. You say the crime scene was handled, was nothing. If you had seen that one of the torn or was open, you would have said otherwise. You saw it and you lied and said the scene was, everything was in place when in fact had seen that there was a bag. So again, the two versions, you can't say there was a bag, the scene, when in fact your statements, there was full confidence in all the original place. I don't remember the word, but they were not temporary.
If you can look at the scene was now out of my control.
Yeah, so you didn't touch this picture you see after when now things, the trial, you didn't see it, so do not use this to support what you're saying. Either on the scene, when you touched the exhibit, actually, paragraph 23 of your, you say, at this stage, the scene, this is you were speaking to Jolene, she was shaken, and then at 23, you're trying to take a statement, and at 23, you say, at this stage, the scene was under control, the exhibits were still secured in bags, in their original form, not tempered. The crime scene was still under investigation as witnesses. We have viewed and suspect arrest. Dog unit was summoned as well. So you tell whoever you were that the bags were in their original form. They were not tempered. So you when you say now that one of them was torn, I'm saying to you, then paragraph 23 is untruthful, where you communicate exhibit according to you, a bag was torn, was open, and your statement should have said that. You want to put?
Yes, at that time while I was taking down the statement after my arrest. So this photo shows at the latest, you can see when Mohana is in the scene was no more in our control. That's where I observed.
No, you touched. Remember the issue now is the scene being, you say you touched, a bag was, that's the only way you question.
Yes.
So the bag had to have been open, touched, and smelled.
Correct.
Yes.
And I also admit that I did not put.
So you're saying to us now that you in fact did touch the while you were seen.
Correct, is what I'm saying.
So when you told us earlier, you did not touch, when you were asked specific question, why did you, when you got there and things, why did you not instruct removed? Why remove them? You said, I saw that they had already been touched. I didn't want it further to contamination. Thank you. You didn't want to contaminate further. So earlier on, you told us you didn't touch. Now you touch.
Correct.
But they can't both be true. There's where one of them is false. You can choose. You can tell us which one is false, because you said two different that cannot both be true. One of them is false. The question is, and maybe let's simplify it. Question: which of the two versions that cannot stand together?
I think let's take it this way. I did. So if the paragraph 20, the one that it is, but when I
are you now you did touch the last word on?
Yes.
So your earlier didn't touch, you didn't want to contaminate. It must follow the statement.
I consider.
The other question, the question that I wanted to ask you are told by General Khan stand down, and you understood. You were asked the question, what does that mean? and it is don't be involved. In the light of that, you go to the back, retrieve the two seals. It's too long in the day. So you go to retrieve the two seals. Did you put those seals? How did you know they were?
I knew because I was with
So you did go to the front of the van because you tell us those seals were on the seat.
on the left.
So you went and you saw them, the seals.
Yes.
Did you ask why are these seals here? Because you know that's not the original site of scenes. That's not where they originally exhibit. Did you ask Magane, where do these come from? As in, where did you remove them and why are they here?
Yes, he explained he found this. One of this, the other one he found.
Did you ask him why did he remove them where they were? You know about crime scene management, you've told us that you know. So you know that things must be left in situ, right? Until the photographer, the CRC, arrives and take note of there. You know all. Did you ask Warrant Officer Magane, why did you remove them from where you...
Yes, explanation was because of he wanted.
Did you tell him that's not what that's against, you've contaminated? So when you now want to take the photographer after you were told, stop being involved, you continue to be. When you want to take the photographer, you want the photographer to do what with
To take photos and
in your hand? Would you? They're not where they're supposed to be. One, they've been removed from their original position in the container. Two, you've removed them from where Mohano put Mohano and Mashaba. You've removed, so you remove them from two locations. When they've been removed from two locations, the photographer comes, you don't take photograph where you say you found them, so that the photographer can take them in that position. And we need to get an. Your intention is what? Is to hold them in your hand and say, here are the thing, the seals, take the pictures of.
Krishna, remember when I'm told to stand down, I have to hand over. So there is that in my position. I have to get over.
So that which was put by Mohane in your car, in his car, is in your possession.
No,
Well, actually, the seals were in your possession.
As a crime scene manager, the seal was as well. So that's why I hand over.
Sibula was there at that point. He had arrived at the scene.
No.
He hadn't yet
No, I
arrived.
haven't seen.
But do you know, if you didn't know that, do you know that what he did is contrary to proper scene management? That you remove those seals from where you found and you want to take them. Did you know that that's not?
I'd like to, when we deal with such scenes where exhibits might get lost or reason, you have to take steps that preserve whatever it is. And at that time, I thought I'm doing the right thing by taking them.
No, you couldn't have thought you were doing the right thing. There was no way of it getting lost when all that's happening is photograph taking a picture. If you went to they've been sitting there, according to you. General Khan tells stop, defy it and go and do something else, to go and point out, here are this. So if you had taken the photographer to go and take a picture, the instruction to do, they wouldn't have gotten lost. There was no risk of it, just because the photographer is taking a picture of them, unless you're saying you were concerned the photographer will take them, put them in your pocket.
It could have been either way. Whether I preferred, again, if I go for it was good interfering. The best way was to take that's an honest.
Do you act that is contrary what you were doing? Do you accept and mask that you're removing seals from the back they were you wanted to take them is in breach protocol about proper handling of it? And then lastly, you say that you waited in Albert. Oh, the driver was not the driver was arrested, was not handcuffed because he
The pound kilometer.
so he would have driven it. Why didn't you say that? Now that you found, that's what retrieved. Why would
As a vehicle that
and that's we do that. The target drug. You have been in Jolene, whom you said. I think you said. Why would you?
simply for the chain of custody of that, like the chain of those trucks. Because let's say, for example, I cannot brought the drugs to impound it. It won't make sense. But then, and that's what happens.
Why would it not make sense? As you had the registration did told us all the truck is drugs, the full you're not going to track it to drive it. Why would it sense to leave the truck with all these statements?
What we do is give, let's say, for example, arrest someone driving in the car firearm. Cannot just confiscate firearms as the instrument that is it's an exhibit. A truck is itself for drugs.
So are you saying it's put to in all cases?
Yes, it.
We know in Port Shepstone they did not. They found drugs in containers. Carrots is where they found, and these are people who are experienced, unlike you, who are ex-robust. At no point given them there to take in the container. Now put this: you are making up an explanation for a decision that is just not just you're making.
No, Commissioner. The vehicles that that vehicle has to be impounded.
Well, lastly, you haven't been involved with drug busts. You don't know. I'm not involved with. Thank you.
Follow up on paragraph 35. So according to you, the initial plan was that the truck driver was going to drive the truck to the SAP pound.
Correct.
And that's the one in Ruleni.
No. There's one about 2 kilometers, not even to the where the
So it was going to be the one in
at Aeroton.
And who was going to go there?
We had a lot of members on the scene. It could have been any of us, Captain Midu.
So the crime scene was going to move to SAP 13 pound, the container that is behind it. So the truck was going to go with the pound.
Yes. That would be after the whole.
And then what was the plan with the van? What was going to, according to you and Mashaba and Makano, what was going to have back?
No, that discussion we were not going to entertain it.
So you were not going to Albert at PS there?
No.
You never had that discussion?
No.
So why did you initially with that? Remember you said you were supposed to meet them when things turned, he called you.
Remember, Commissioner, I was guided by Mokana as I was coming to assist. He says he's on his way to Albert. He's coming to Albert. I would go and wait for him where he said.
So the initial plan was that these exhibits were going to.
Yes, but I was not aware of the.
Why else would you have? These trucks were never in Albert. Remember the truck Roykop, and then it went Roykop is with a static.
No, it is in Albert.
I know where Albert is. Roycop is, for it to get to, it just was not, it went to Aeroton.
Rodocop, the precinct principal.
But the truck moved from there to Aeroton.
With that, I cannot answer. Commissioner,
And as it was moving to Aeroton, that's where I called at the police station.
No, it was after he opened.
Yes.
Yes, after he opened in Aeroton that he said his.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So their plan was to take the exit.
Yes.
That's why you had to wait in Albert.
Yes, yes, Commissioner.
And when there was interference, they then called you.
I don't know, because I'm the one who phoned them to find out how far is it. That's when he said to
And
Aeroton.
while you were at Aeroton's cast, what is it that were backing?
No, we didn't, because Commissioner, we were still waiting Lieutenant Colonel Maluleka to come.
So you never had that?
No. As to where we are going to book, and no.
But what did you think was going
No,
on?
they were definitely going to be booked in.
Did you call the boy?
No, I couldn't, because the buggy was already on the. I did.
It's an unrelated. What are the rules? I imagine the rules is about carrying a firearm. What is? Maybe let me ask you, are you required to have your firearm because you are issued?
No, it's not.
It's not. How? So they leave decide.
You can. Yes, I can put it like that. Unless if maybe there's an operation where we are going.
You are going to, when Makan, explain how you don't have a firearm, you didn't know what you have seen, operation walk, how you are at home, you leave, explain why you knew exactly.
True way. Perhaps had I had my firearm robbed.
No, answer my question. Don't make up your answer. Very direct question. Explain why you get a call, come and help operation. You are at home where your firearm, you are now, or you don't, you've been told it's about drug operation. Must you go and leave your decision. Explain how that makes sense. And I want to suggest that unless you knew exactly what is happening, intended, you knew what the scene was, I would understand. The firearm. You didn't know. All you knew was you, Magane, and Mashaba are going to be joining these.
Commissioner, I remember before I left, I phoned, and the initial, like when I left my house, I was going to meet Magana at Albert. That was my thinking about. So I never thought it's going to break into. My intention was to meet him at Albert. In
fact, with that, if you're going to meet him at why he's going to the station, he has the hall. He doesn't need you. You actually don't need to be calling. You don't need to call. See the trouble that you don't need to call K9. You don't need to do anything to call anybody. Because on this version, you are just going police station. They've done what they to do, and now they explain. Unless I don't understand, certify it.
Yes. Remember, Commissioner, Mashaba and Mokana are not reconciled. Well, I might not be as well. The reason would have been to assist them in statement booking up.
But they are taking the stuff to why calling K9? Why are calling the many people and assist? If you are going to the drugs on your end where they are, there are people. Why are mobilizing all these?
Obviously, the dog unit to confirm and to assist with taking down of statements and putting the exhibits in the essay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Warrant Officer. Thank you very much. You are excused. Let us adjourn and resume at 9:30.